Backlinks are still the name of the game in SEO in 2025. Easily one of the top 3 most important ranking factors in ranking number 1, both on Google and increasing our visibility in large language models. But tons of brands still get backlink building wrong. And honestly, it's because the industry has been hijacked by a bunch of amateurs that have absolutely zero idea what they're doing. BuzzStream just released their State of the Union, pretty much the backlink building trend report for 2025. And someone sent it over to me in Twitter DMs today. And after reading the headline, I knew I had to make this video. So this is my first time actually seeing the full report, and I'm going to break it down for you, my thoughts on it pretty much as I read through it, and what you should do instead. Okay. I'm expecting a lot of hot takes. I saw some of the early percentages in the headline, and I am not at all optimistic about how people are doing link building in 2025. So let's get to it. All right. So I want to be clear, not affiliated with BuzzStream. I don't know anything about the author, and this by any means, whatever I say is not an indication of my opinions on BuzzStream. Okay. They simply compile the data and display the results. Okay. So BuzzStream, thank you for putting this out there. I've seen some of the data. This is my first time reading the full report. However, this is not an indictment of BuzzStream in any capacity. Okay. They simply they interviewed some people. That sounds like 1,000 people across the whole SEO industry, put together a report. Okay. So we're just going to read the report, see what we got. All right. So link building trends report 2025. All right. Looks like it's a combination of BuzzStream and Citation Labs. So thank you for putting together the study. Okay. Now the key takeaways is what I saw earlier. I am curious to see if my first opinions change after reading the entire full study. And again, this is my first time seeing it. Okay. Now, key takeaways. 61% manage link building in-house, but agencies still play a role. Okay. We just hired a senior SEO at my company, at my agency. I interviewed 5 other senior SEOs for the position. I ended up giving the offer to this guy. All 5 of them have worked for agencies that have, I think, like 15 or 20 or more employees. Okay. All the agencies were big enough size that they could have absolutely built link building in-house. However, all of them used a combination of both in-house link building as well as agencies. So they were like an agency working with another link building agency to build links for their clients. Okay, so like almost like a double agency relationship. This isn't common. I have used link building agencies to build links for my clients. In certain cases. Okay, sometimes I need to build them in a certain country, and I don't have access to that. Like from our in-house teams, want to build them in a certain niche. Maybe like we don't have enough links in that niche to go get them. So I will use agencies to just kind of supplement those links when necessary. Okay. So this first one does not surprise me at all. Okay. Now, this is the one that I was blown away by. 66% of quote unquote link builders, like that's who they interviewed, SEOs, link builders, struggle with identifying backlink tactics, making strategy a key challenge. Now, the way I read this headline, and again, I'm going to go down to the bottom, like I'm going to go read the full summary of this particular headline. But the way I read it is that 2/3, 66% of link builders struggle to identify good link building tactics, which in fact means they're not nearly as good at link building as they say they are. Okay. If you struggle with identifying a link building tactic, why are you calling yourself a link builder? That makes zero sense to me. Like if you don't know the core tactic, why on earth are you first off calling yourself a link builder, whether you're an agency, a freelancer, or a link building like agency itself? And why are you selling it? More importantly, like 2/3 of the link builders in the study don't know what the hell they're doing. What's the point? Like why would that give anyone soliciting SEO services any reason to trust anyone in SEO, right? It's like 2/3 of people don't know what they're doing. That's crazy to me. Okay. Moving on. Only about a third find their link building effort successful. Link building is hard to measure, right? Like it's hard to measure the effect of one link because you very often you're building multiple links at a time, or you're building links and also writing content and building internal links and doing technical SEO, right? So you're doing a lot of things on top of one another. So it's very hard to discern the value of one particular link unless you totally silo it off, right? So the best way you can do that is just build one. You have to build one link to your site and give it a week or 2 to see how it reacts. Or you could kind of silo off a cluster on your site or a single page on your site and just build links to it while you do SEO on the rest of the site. You could also kind of observe your results there. Now, my assumption is that most people aren't doing those kinds of tests, which is why they're finding it hard to measure the impacts of individual links. However, more quality links over time, in almost every case, will lead to more organic search, like better rankings, more organic search traffic, and more organic search revenue. Okay. If you look at any growing site on the planet, on like SEMrush or Ahrefs or wherever, there is a direct correlation between the increase in the number of referring domains and the increase in organic search traffic. Okay. Those numbers, like those trend lines, will look very similar. Okay. Which indicates to you that more backlinks over time means more organic search traffic, which generally means more money, assuming you're prioritizing the right pages. Okay. So finding link building efforts successful. Yeah, hard to measure the value of one link. However, if you're building enough links over time, you should be seeing an increase in traffic. If you're not, then yeah, your link building efforts suck. But if the traffic graph's going up and the revenue, like the organic search revenue graph is also going up, and you're building more links, pretty good indication that one of those, like that part is working, right? Now, this will vary if you're like an SEO agency or like just a link building agency, right? If you're just building links and the website you're building links on isn't doing any other kind of SEO, then yeah, like obviously your links are working, right? Now, if you're an SEO agency like myself, we do content, we do links, we do technical SEO. Again, a bit harder to measure, right? But there are sometimes like we'll silo off like just links in a month or just content in a month because we want to like see how different parts of the site are reacting to different things. So, and that's another way to measure. Okay. Next up, 68% prioritize links to blog posts, but only just 41% focus on product pages. Okay. Now, 68% of people prioritizing links to blog posts of the people surveyed, right? This is a pretty common tactic. It's not one I use. The most common kinds of links I build are branded homepage links or natural or branded anchor or branded links to collection pages. Okay. Prioritizing links to blog posts is safe. It's also just now what I will say, like, I think it'll depend on the kind of niche you're in, right? I work in e-commerce. I don't give a shit about building links to blog posts unless it's like, best supplement company on earth or something like if it's like a transactional blog in nature, yeah, I'll build links to that page, right? But something like, what is creatine good for me or something like that? Like, it'd be cool to rank for it, but like, I'm not going to waste, thousands of dollars to go try and like outrank WebMD for that kind of blog if it's not going to drive me a lot of revenue. Okay. So as an e-commerce brand, like e-commerce agency, I don't build a lot of links to blog posts. Okay. That's me. Now, I'm assuming at some point in the study, they're going to say who was surveyed, like, e-commerce, local, B2B, things of that nature. Now, if you're in B2B, like you're selling SaaS or like any B2B, like enterprise service, link building to blog posts is a good thing, right? Because a lot of your leads will actually come through those blog posts, ironically. So if that's the case, yes, prioritizing links to blog posts is a good thing. However, in e-commerce, unless it's a transactional blog post, like best product type or, brand A versus brand B or something like that, building links to blog posts is a slow approach, right? The best bet in e-commerce is to build links primarily to your homepage branded. That's like for sure the safest. It's going to take a little bit longer to like see the results of the impact of your link building. So I always supplement them in addition with like backlinks to collection pages. Okay. Like product category pages, basically. Now, that's my split. Now, the second part of this says 41% of link builders focus on product page links. Now, maybe there's some nuance to this. A product page in e-commerce, you should not be building backlinks to product pages. More often than not, backlinks to product pages are typically ignored by Google. Okay. Now it's different if you're linking to like a product category / collection page. Those links tend to not be ignored. However, backlinks to product pages are. So if they're talking about e-commerce product pages, the fact that 40% of people are building those links is concerning because that means 41% of the people are wasting their link building budget. Because if the links are getting ignored, you spend $200, $300, $400 on a link and it's ignored, you've essentially wasted $200, $300, $400. Okay. That's concerning. Now, if the product page is more, if they wrote the word product pages, but it's more generally like just transactional pages, like, for local, that'd be like a service page. For e-commerce, that could be like a category page. For B2B, SaaS company or something like that, that could be like a, a landing page of some sort. Like if that's the case, okay, that makes sense, right? But if it's an e-commerce product page, that's concerning. Okay. 75% are given 6 months or fewer to prove the value of their link building efforts. That's fair. Yes, SEO takes a while. It could take it can take like 6 to 12 months plus if you're like starting from zero. If you're like starting to link build on an established brand, which I assume you probably would be because most new brands don't have the capital to invest in link building. So like you'd be working with a somewhat established brand. Honestly, like 6 months of viewer is like not bad, right? I know people want more time, but like you also like have to think that you're spending other people's money on links. So like you have to prove that you're going to return their investment to them plus some. Otherwise, you're going to find someone else to do it, or they're just not going to fucking do it. So yeah, I mean, as an agency, I don't have 6 months to prove my worth. Like I have way less, right? Otherwise, if I had to tell a brand, hey, you're not going to make any money for the first 6 months, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to sign any more brands in my agency. Like that'd be crazy. Okay, so yeah, I mean, 6 months is like not bad, like or less. Like 3-4 months is like probably pretty accurate, right? Now I know it sucks for SEOs, but like that's just the fact, right? You have to make money for people in a short amount of time, or else they will find someone else to do it, or they just simply won't do it anymore. But in either of those cases, they're not paying you anymore. Okay, 29% of say link building budgets are easy to secure. Yeah, that's probably I would agree with that kind of sentiment. Again, I'm also like not the numbers. The results of the study are what they are, right? The numbers cannot be changed, right? 29%, 66%, whatever, right? I'm just giving my thoughts on the numbers and like what the angles they picked are. Okay. Now, 30% of people say link building budgets are easy to secure. Yeah, it's hard to sell people on link building, especially when there's no tangible ROI, right? In e-commerce, every single brand knows their ROI, like their ROAS, and every single other paid channel down to like the hundredth of a decimal point. When I tell them, yeah, we can't really measure the impact of a single link, it's a hard sell for sure. But I pitch them on the whole service. Like I'm like, hey, we do this for this price, right? And as an agency, but a portion of my budget immediately goes to link building. Okay, I don't like sell a service and then on top of that, I also sell link building. Like I sell the whole service, and I just budget away a percentage of our retainer, our fees for link building, right? So when I tell the clients like what it is, they're like, oh yeah, it's fine. But I'm not asking them to spend more money on me. I'm just like, this is the whole service. This is what it costs. We go from there. Now, the way I do it, it's not hard to secure at all. I prove my worth through, case studies, client interviews, things like I get results. Like that's what I prove my worth through getting results for other brands, right? Now, if I was an in-house agency or in-house SEO and I wanted to go ask the marketing department for an extra $10,000 or $20,000 a year to go build links, yeah, that's probably a pretty hard conversation. So the fact that this number is 30% is not that surprising, to be honest with you. I'm actually surprised that maybe it's that high. 56% of people expect their link building budget to increase in 25. I agree with this, no doubt about it. We're spending more on links already. Links are becoming even more important to rank number one on Google. And again, like content links are still going to be largely the reason you rank in any LLMs. So yeah, we're spending more on links. That means our margins are getting a little bit smaller as an agency. We're doing definitely a little bit less content, but we got to make money for brands. And the way we make money for brands largely depends on backlinks. So here we are. 11% have a repeatable process or getting cited in AI. Yeah, I mean, AI is so new. Like everyone's got theories on how it works. Question and answer based content links, like all these things do work to some degree. It is still very new. I know like lots of B2B SaaS companies are getting like a lot of signups through like ChatGPT, Perplexity, things of that nature. I don't know a lot of e-commerce brands getting actual purchases that come from these kinds of LLMs. Visitors, maybe, or visitors definitely, but like purchases, not so much. So this number being really low isn't shocking because it's so new. I bet you like in 2026, this number is gonna be a lot higher once people have kind of cracked how the algorithms or how the LLMs like kind of function in terms of visibility. 40% peer reports effectively convey the value of link building. Yeah, as I said earlier, right? Like hard to define the ROI of one singular link. However, links over time, you should be able to define the value of that very clearly. Okay. If I build 30 links in 3 months, so 10 a month, and the organic search traffic has gone up as a result of that, very easy to convey the value of that. If it hasn't gone up, yeah, not easy to convey the value of it because there's no value in the links you're building, right? Now that could be one of a couple of things, right? Maybe your competitors just have so many more links that you building 30 doesn't have even a small impact, right? Or maybe you're using the wrong tactics, right? We said earlier that study says that 2/3 of the link builders don't even know what tactics to use. So this isn't shocking that only 40% of them feel effectively convey the value of link building, right? All right, so let me quickly get through some of these other ones. I don't want to make this a super long video, but I think it's important. All right, so Okay, this is a breakdown of like link building management. So like I said, link building in-house, 61%, that's pretty good. That's if you could build links in-house, that's the way to do it, right? It's for sure the logistically the most intense, but it's hard to do. Or it's hard to do, but it's hard to do because it's logistically the most intense. However, it is definitely the most cost efficient way at scale to do it, right? It costs a lot up front to like invest in different tools, Muckrack, Pitchbox, whatever else you may use, email domains for sending softwares, all those kinds of things. All those cost money, right? However, if you're going to do like link building at scale, you're going to get better because if you go directly to the source and or you're doing PR links compared to like just buying from like a reseller or a marketplace. Okay. In-house team and agency freelancer, also not uncommon, right? Like I said, I've used a mix of in-house and agency, and like link building agencies have helped me scale. Now, I've also said before, I don't like link building agencies and marketplaces all that much because I want to have maximum control over the links I'm building. Marketplaces, many of them will just be like, yeah, you could buy 10 links and we'll 60 or 30 and 1,000 visits a month. And you're like, cool. That's not enough for me, right? Building for my clients, like I want to make sure I'm building very good links. So I only build for marketplaces where I can actually like choose link insertions that I've actually seen, and I can like QA the domain myself, right? There are very few and far between of them. I found a couple that work for me, all different price points, but a lot of our link building is actually done in-house now, which is great. Okay, I'm going to move on a little bit further here. Okay, so link building strategy. Documented repeatable process of link building. Only 32% of people are doing that. That's concerning. We've got tons of SOPs on link building. We do a very repeatable process. Probably why it works so well. 40% of people are relying on a spontaneous approach. 28% are mostly unplanned. Well, yeah, that's not shocking that you're not getting results. A quarter of you are throwing darts at the wall. Barely half of you have a plan half the time. So that's crazy. So yeah, I mean, like you got a plan, it's going to work. Like that's like anything in SEO, really in business or commerce generally. Like if you just keep trying random things, you can't expect things to work. But if you do the same thing over a long enough timeline, you can validate it's going to work, and you also can make it more efficient and keep going. Okay. Okay. Changing image approach to link building. Okay, fine. I mean, like fixed set of strategies, 16%. I don't know. I've been using the same kind of link strategies. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've like implemented other ones or supplemented other ones rather, but like we're largely using link insertions and reactive PR, and we have been doing that for like 18 months, and it's crushing. I've tried guest posting. I've tried tiered link building. I tried Reddit. I tried Parasite. All of them work sometimes in their own categories, but largely speaking, like we stick to what we know. We try other things. But I would say like for me, I'm like 90% of our links come from the same methods, and the other 20, like the other 10% are kind of like tests, right? And I also always like test on my own sites before I even test on client sites because I don't know how they're going to react, obviously. We already talked about this. Blog posts and articles, 68%. That's common. Homepage, 40%. This does say product pages. I hope this includes like category pages because, as I said in e-commerce, like if you're building links to product pages, you're probably wasting your budget. The rest of these are fine. Don't prioritize page types is pretty wild. 7%. It's a low number. It's still too high in my opinion. You should have at least a plan. Just like you should have a tactic. You should have a plan of where the links are going to go. Okay, that's crazy. Measuring impact. Cool. 65%. That's good. That's higher than I expected, quite frankly. Leadership wants to see quick wins with the link building efforts. Also, not surprising number, right? Like I said, you have to make money quickly. That's the whole point. We don't have an indefinite amount of time for this shit. 3 months. Yeah, 3 months, 6 months is like good. Like that's like 50. What is that? 57% of people. That's good. I agree. 36 months is a good enough timeline to find your link building. If it's not working by 3 to 6 months, it's not going to work magically at month 7. Somewhat successful means my assumption is they actually have no idea if it's successful and they just didn't want to answer slightly or not. I think improved average position is the best way to measure. Personally, I think this like second one's definitely the best. Now it's as a result, like all the other metrics are going to grow, but like really like position is what you're looking at first. Link building, reporting, KPI. What are we looking at? Framework. Okay, KPI should be the only thing you're tracking. Link building reports. Okay. Not measuring link building as control. No one measuring is concerning, right? As I said earlier, like you want to measure the link value of a link, you have to test it. If you're only a quarter of people measuring against control group's not crazy. If I had to estimate, those quarter of the people are the best link builders probably in the world, or at least who responded to the study. The fact that no one, like that half of people aren't benchmarking, means they're probably wasting like most of their budget already. All right, I only have it this for. I'm going to speed up a little bit. Okay. Link building budgets. Okay, let's talk about this. So, we talked about this. 29% of people say it's easier to get budget. Average digital PR link building budget is below 10K monthly. That's actually high. If you're in e-commerce and you're spending 10K a month on PR, you're probably making like, I don't know, at least 5 million a month would be my assumption. Like I work with brands that do like anywhere from like 100K on the low end to more like 2 to 500K a month is like kind of our average. Some brands working as high as like, 5 million a month. Even then, all of their link building budgets are like sub 5,000 a month. So 10K is crazy. I also think PR is way too overpriced. Like I said, we do link insertions and reactive PR. We'll build like, depending on the budget, we'll build anywhere from like 5 to 15 links. I'd say like a third of those are reactive PR. We're building like 3 to 6 a month, and then the other remaining 2/3 are mostly link insertions. And like I said, a mix of homepage links and category page links. So taking that's crazy. Yeah, the average link building budget should be below 10K. I think too many PR agencies charge way too much and don't deliver nearly enough value, and or they can't track or show you the value of like the ROI of your investment. So I think like that's a bad thing too. Like a lot of brands are going to try and spend 10K on 1 month in PR, not going to see a return in month 1 because it wasn't a long enough time frame, then blame the PR agency. But like what could have just happened is they could have just saved their money and not done it and invested less in different types of link building and had more success over a 3-month timeline. Like if you spend 3K a month over 3 months, that's 9K. That's still less than a 10K monthly budget. You'll at least have more measurable data comparatively to just spending 10K once. Like a lot of brands or companies like spend their budget just to get like good links. And then they look back in 30 days and like, well, I don't even know if it worked. Then they're out of money. They don't build any links in the next 2 or 3 months. And then they just repeat the process. So I think it's better to spend less consistently because you're just going to learn more. You're going to learn what works. And then once you learn what works, you can start to scale your budget up from there. All right. Organization, invest in link building. I mean, these are all like pretty obvious answers. Really, like the only one that should matter is like the first two. You just want more traffic and better rankings so that you can make more money. That's like the only thing that matters. Actually, sales and revenue, that should be like number 1. Scratch it. This should be the number 1 spot, and everything else doesn't matter. There's another thing about SEO too. Like a lot of SEO agencies or SEOs just like only care about organic traffic, right? You can't pay bills with traffic. You can't, right? If I told my clients or prospects that we're going to like double or triple their traffic, and I said, well, I don't know what's going to happen to your revenue. I guess we'll find out. Like, probably not going to pay me. And if they are going to pay me, they're not going to pay very long because they're like, oh yeah, traffic doesn't pay our bills. So something to think about. Revenue should always be your North Star metric for literally anything you're doing. Okay. Links are part of the budget links are let's say a third of my budget that enable me to make brands more money. Okay. But everything like is tied back to revenue in some capacity. Like backlinks are kind of a means to an end. Backlinks give me higher rankings on these transactional pages makes clients more money. Okay. End of the road is still revenue. Okay. Link building budget, we talked about this more, going to expand or going to increase. Yeah. Why do I think it will increase? Yeah. Again, it's going to make you better at SEO. Decrease. Budget's getting crowded across the board. Not shocking. I know a lot of brands are squeezing budgets for a variety of reasons. Obviously, AI is making things, replacing entire jobs with, kind of like vibe coding apps and automations and all these kinds of things, no code apps, whatever. So budgets are getting cut across the board. So brands can become more profitable, or agencies can become more profitable, all that kind of stuff. But if you're like spending less, if you want to actually be better at SEO in 2025 and you want to spend less on links, Like you can't have one and not the other. Like or one and you can't have it both ways. Like if you want to be better at SEO this year, you spend more money on links. Simple as that. You spend money on less links, or you spend less money on links, you're not going to rank as highly. You're not going to make as much money. Simple as that. Like if you want to be better at SEO, you just spend more money on links. Okay, that's just the reality right now. All right, that's all I got for today. This has already been a long video.